Welcome back. Today is Saturday, and time check right now is 10 p.m. Singapore Asia time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining me here today. Typically on a Saturday, I'm very relaxed. The market is closed, and I just have a good sleep earlier on. And we want to continue on our thesis in the space of the semiconductors. And I think this is such a big topic. It's like non-stop. The past 1 week started from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today is Saturday. And there's one piece of news just came out 1 second ago. 6 consecutive days just talking about semiconductors. And I think this requires us to really dive in deep to understand the unique phenomena. So right now, before we get started to cover the big topic for today, I want to make sure we cover what has happened recently. All right. So let me just take this piece out right here. This is really fascinating stuff. I'm such a great. I don't know how to describe this to you, but we also continue on the idea that can tech founders get away for their fraudulent duties. All right. And, FTX has been on the big headline news as well because of a Sam Bankman Freed kind of a manipulated touch users' funds, resulting in the collapse of FTX.com. And until right now, the effects are reverberating across the entire crypto space. This is really serious, and we want to know what are the consequences for him. None other than really tuning in to watch this piece of news that just came out yesterday, live yesterday. And I want to kind of flip over right here. Here we go. This is the latest as of Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. And typically in US style, as you all know, they are fighting the cause with very powerful lawyers. Because of their fraudulent activities, they kind of amass large amount of fortunes for themselves. They can kind of keep using the best lawyers out there. And of course, the number one de facto leader in using lawyers to fight court cases is none other than the previous president, Donald Trump. So I think he set a really bad culture or a climate or an environment or an example to the rest of the American people, that the rich somehow can get away just by tapping into loopholes in the law, just by using top-notch lawyers to kind of delay the process. So I got a lot of things to say about this. In fact, for my experience with the law, it was the reverse. The law allows me over time to really, go after someone who kind of harm me and my family really bad. And the law allows me to catch up on that someone. And again, this of course requires a lot of stamina. You got to have money to fight the case. And most importantly, you must have a good lawyer. But what I'm trying to say right now is, can you finally get away? All right, the context I'm sharing here tonight is, can you finally get away for doing something wrong? Can the law eventually catch up with you? All right, so that is the context I want to frame tonight's discussion. The first part of discussion on Elizabeth Holmes, and here we go. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes was sentenced on Friday to 135 months in prison. And she was convicted on 4 counts of criminal fraud years after her blood testing company crumbled. Now, for those of you not in the know about Elizabeth Holmes, now she came out with a really fascinating product that kind of woo the entire Wall Street. And really, she brought in top-notch investors, just like Sam Bankman Freed. All about what? About this really fascinating blood testing technology that she said, if she peers through your finger to extract a few drops of blood, she knows everything about you. Right? So, but the problem is this. As she dive into the business even further, it was unveiled right now that they have deceived patients, partners, investors, and employees about the company's progress and the capabilities of its technology. So as a result, the once valued at $9 billion by private investors round, I think she was on the path of ringing the bell, going IPO. Theranos shut down in 2018. Now, she could have gone through IPO either through specs or initial public offering. So this is really, really big news yesterday. Even though it was announced like pretty late towards the closing bell, right? So here is the part that while this is going on, and I think she kind of a really bad timing for her sentencing, because yesterday during the sentence, it was within the same period at this moment that Sam Bankman Fried faced a daunting future following the sudden collapse of his cryptocurrency exchange, FTX. All right. Now, I can tell you for sure he will be charged very, very soon. They're trying to compile all the charges, and that's the part. It takes time to formulate charges against fraudulent activities. And oftentimes, this time, so-called window, has been taken advantage of founders running away from the domicile countries, of doing all kinds of things just to evade. Or in fact, I was also having this topic today, in a table that Dubai right now is the de facto getaway country. Get away from it all. People will flee to Dubai to escape, and because it's very, very friendly for attracting such money into the country. Now, we are done on Elizabeth Holmes, and of course, we must connect to the next important news about criminal probe, and that's none other than the case of President Donald Trump. Attorney General Merrick Garland names Jack Smith special counsel in Trump criminal probes. Now, this was announced, if I'm not wrong, 2 days right after Trump announced his presidential bid. All right. So, from the first reading, you kind of feel that it is like politically motivated because the Attorney General works under the guidance of the incumbent president, which is President Joe Biden, right? Right here, Smith's appointment came 3 days after Trump announced plans to run for presidency in 2024. So it is very, very motivated due to the power struggle. And you put yourself in Donald Trump's position. Now, not many people could do that. So that is, sorry, I want to retract that again. Let's see from the perspective through the lenses of Donald Trump. All right. Now, if you don't run for presidency, you get killed anyway, because they started this thing. They want to claw back all the past things he had done, and they are after his blood. But if you run for presidency, like what Donald Trump has done to announce the official run, he can mobilize the grassroots in his favor. And he has right now another very powerful weapon if he knows how to play the game to his advantage. And let me show you why all these pieces start to connect, all right? And it's really, really fascinating for me because I'm looking at it from a third-party point of view. Don't really not into it until I feel so emotional about it, right? So here we go. All right, let's start off from here, and then you understand the logic. Step 1. You have President Donald Trump 3 days ago announcing to run for presidency in the year 2024 November. All right, that is the date, official date, or the month of the election. Step 2, straight thereafter, 3 days later, Attorney General appoints the prosecutor. Now, the word is not prosecutor. Let me check back again. appoints the special counsel to probe into Donald Trump. Exactly 3 days, all right? And then step 3, which most people are not connecting the dots, I present to you Elon Musk, the most hated man by President Joe Biden. And obviously, this move 13 hours ago, I believe, has some connection of the dots in a way to give Donald Trump another platform to fight his cause. Elon Musk ran a campaign to reinstate former President Trump on Twitter. Nothing to do with the criminal charges, but he's giving him the platform to kind of fight back. So he ran this tweet campaign, and obviously, I'm not involved in the politics, and you can see 52.3% is pro the fact that Donald Trump should be back on Twitter. All right, this was like 13 hours ago. Then you start to trace the timeline, and the beauty about Twitter is, you have this like a vertical timeline on the left. I'm teaching you how to play with Twitter, right? This vertical timeline on the left. If I go up, you're going to see the next one. 5 hours ago, Trump poll getting 1 million votes per hour. They're talking about 1 million votes per hour. And by the time the voting is over, you're going to see the real count, all right? 1 million is like 1 million votes per hour. So 1 hour, one day you have 24 hours, probably about 24 million votes. This is huge. No, right here, 10 million votes, all right? Because I'm not counting according to his time. I'm counting by 24 hours. So half of 24 hours is about 12 million votes. He's getting there. He's right now like 11 million votes already. This is like mind-boggling. That's already 10.5 million votes and still moving, right? The numbers here are still moving. And then I move up, and let's see the latest, right? Move up. I really so amazed by this. This is the typical engineers discussion on backlog. What are the things that they need to move on? Wow, this is really solid, man. They're working on API. Sorry, I really got to talk about this because this is so fascinating. I need to know what the engineers are working on, all right? Web, Android, iPhone web, HTTP. This is the desktop version. And the next generation System-E. Wow, solid, man. GraphQL federated Strato column, TLS API being deprecated. All right, they're going to get rid of this one. I mean, we are using the API. We kind of receive email alerts on that as well, right? So continue. Timeline mixer. Wow, we just talked about timeline. They're working on a timeline. Conversion module, pagination, tweet deprecation, serve data logging, home mixer. Wow, this is solid stuff, man. Home ranker, and then Thrift RPC timeline, Scorer timeline service, Manhattan social graph. All right, Twitter Space. Yeah, this one is he talk about it. Early bird, but I think this is a new product. And future hydration, home scorer, prediction survey. Woohoo! He's putting his AI into Twitter. He didn't use the word AI, he called prediction service to predict the next piece of news coming out. Wow, this is fascinating, top-notch engineering, man. This is really amazing stuff, all right? Sorry, I got distracted. When I see this, it's like, wow, dripping, man. And can you see? The man working amongst his engineers. So all the rumors about engineers leaving him, no. I believe are the lazy engineers that left him. Are the engineers as passing time to collect salaries that left him. Those who stay on, they believe in the cause. Why would you leave Twitter when you have Elon Musk appointed the leader of the pack? That would be extreme silly, extreme stupidity. You have a chance to work with the greatest man on earth. Why would you leave Twitter? Unless you're incompetent, unless you're just bluffing your way through, unless you realize you cannot catch up with what this man wants, then you will leave Twitter. And that's my thoughts. I'm just saying as it is, so many a times it's like, if you look at this picture and you come back, and every one of us kind of work with different organizations over the years, think about those times you left a company. And typically the complaints like, oh, the boss is very tight, very, very tough, very detailed, very task-oriented, no work-life balance. Those are the common ones. But if there's no such people around to sacrifice, would you have your SpaceX today? Would you have your Tesla today? Would you have your Neuralink today? You wouldn't have all these things around. There are people making sacrifices, working their ass off, while there's another group out there enjoying life, right? But that's how you balance it. Like I went with a walk with a friend. He works very, very hard, Mondays to Fridays, Saturday, Sunday. He just conk out as his yacht, just spending time with his family members, work hard and play hard. It is expected. So going back to this picture, it's like, you're watching real time how the startup is being run. This is not even a startup to begin with. This is like a 44 billion acquisition. And he's going back to the grassroots, rebuild from start, the code review. So this is really fascinating stuff, all right? Now, sorry for the distraction. Let's come back to the latest thing I want to show you. 51 minutes, fascinating to watch Twitter Trump poll. And there you go, done. All right. So we connect the dots. 3 days ago, Donald Trump announced his plans to run for presidency. 3 days later, Attorney General appointed, I keep forgetting this name, prosecutor or special counsel, because this is more of a terminology used in the United States, not in Asia. So step 2, Attorney General appointed a special counsel for 2 criminal investigations by the Department of Justice against former President Donald Trump. Step 3, exactly right after that, Elon Musk launched a poll. Hey, would you want to have Donald Trump back on Twitter? And, it's more for rather than against, that will set the stage so that he has a platform to communicate his voice against the so-called criminal act that the incumbent president has launched against him due to politics. Now, everyone will have their fair share of Donald Trump, whether you are pro him or against him. Just like you look at Elizabeth Holmes, many startup founders will say, what? Why is she going to jail, 11 years jail, for failing in a startup? No, that is not failing in a startup. That's fraud. That's severe, severe fraud. But in the case of Donald Trump, when in the last presidency, when he was running for presidency, they were already going after his ass, right? That was like, they already sent all kinds of special counsel to go after him, and the findings, they found nothing. So this time around, they are trying to find something against him again. All right, so you make your stand about it. But for me, I want to hear what he has to say on Twitter. I hope he's back on Twitter and Twitter will be like all crazy again. And of course, the one that I'm really looking forward to is Sam Backman Freed. How this guy should be sentenced a life imprisonment, right? Because the impact he has made is like not just Elizabeth Holmes, like maybe limited to 100 private investors. For FTX.com, the impact is 1 million ordinary man account. Not just his institutional investors, but his trading clients. There's 1 million accounts, KYC that opened on FTX, and he just took their money. So this deserves life imprisonment, all right? So let me pay my regards to one and all who just joined us for the live stream, and really happy to see all of you here today. And today, I was attending the beautiful wedding ceremony of one of our students. And so happy to see, see among our students friendship, courtship, love, get married, have babies. I mean, I've been around for quite some time. I also remember in 2012, I was helping. I don't call him a student, more like he was like taking part in one of the events I organized. And he said, "Clemen, could you help me? I want to propose to this girl I love so much in front of 888 guests of this event that you organize. I want to propose to her at your event." I say, "No problem. I'll help you. Let me get that into planning." And right, and we did exactly that for him at the Art Science Museum in Singapore, right on the Marina Bay Sands properties. There's one special place where he could climb the stairs up to 3-story high, and those at the ground floor can look up and see very clearly. So we found a special spot for him to propose to to his girlfriend back then. And in the middle of the event, I changed the flow of the music and run the dragon light, boom, face him climbing up the stairs with the girl. And guess what? He knelt down and said into the mic, "Would you marry me?" And of course, the girl went totally emotional, cry and everything. And she said yes. But the beauty is not just saying yes to a marriage, but working hard on the marriage. They got married. They have, I think right now, I believe 2 kids already. And I'm just very, very happy to play a small part in that process. Likewise, today I was able to play a very, very small part to witness the wedding of J-Lo and his beautiful wife, Shirley, and hang out with his friends and his classmates. Really happy to take part in that. So let me say hello to one and all. Today, welcome Henry, I see you. Kelvin, Hiram, Isabella, Wilson, Manfred, Chufat, Jeffrey, Shane, Hiram, Adeline, Christopher. Welcome to all of you. Wow, let me fire off the first chat. Here we go. Welcome back. If you're watching us live, I invite you to just say hello on the live comments. Whether you're watching us from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, including TikTok. At TikTok, I see Kelvin and Ryan. Thanks for joining us right across there. And we are trying out all the different, platforms. So you guys can also say a big congratulations to J-Lo. Wow. And I also want to take this time to kind of do a quick survey. How many of you tonight you are working late and kind of working on something you are going to be sleeping late? And if you are sleeping late, please join me tonight. I'll be sleeping really late. Tonight I set aside 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably work until 4 to 5 a.m. Right on my book. And usually the weekend is really perfect. Market is not open. That's what I love about stock market. You don't have to trade like 7 days a week. And then everybody just quiet at home. My son just returned back, got discharged from a hospital. Tonight is his first night after the operation. No, tonight is the second night after operation. And it looks like, he's handling it really, really well. So I'll be working pretty late until 4 to 5 a.m. in the morning. And then 9:30, I'm expected to report for work at church. Tomorrow Sunday is my duty back again. So I see all your messages. Wow, look at them. Congratulations flowing in for J-Lo. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so without further ado, I want to, thanks Jeffrey for wishing my son a speedy recovery. He has been like, for us as parents, I think we just made a very swift decision. The left knee pop, he was suffering from a left knee pop because back then he was playing rugby for the school, and he was the captain, right? He was the one holding the fort. And then sometimes in rugby, the teams start to play dirty. So the opposing team sent 2 guys to go after my son. Really went for his knee and boom! I had to run into the middle of the field to carry him out and send him to A&E, accidents and emergency. So that was painful, man. I don't know. That time he was like only 12 years old, and I have to do that as a father. Then we discuss and we say, son, perhaps you need to change your sport. Papa can't handle that. Maybe you can handle it. He said, he also didn't like it that, someone out to injure him and all that. We talk about it. So that was his first pop. Then he switched the sport to fencing. And he did pretty well. He was the national champion. But fencing, because, you have to have the big spurt forward. And over time, it really won off that knee that kind of got the concussion from the rugby match. And he popped his left knee in one of his training. He just total collapse on the floor. I have to rush to the training school. And again, played a part, sent him to hospital and all that. So that was 2 years ago when he had his first left knee operation. And that was painful to watch because the first time. And more because that operation is like after a few years of the injury, the things inside the knee is really messed up. He was just, fighting the pain. But obviously it's so damaged, then we have to go for the surgery, right? That was 2 years ago, left knee. Then 2 years later now, his right knee about to pop again. And we say, okay, before the thing goes off, just go for the operation. Just make a decision like this. And so that 2 of his knees are fully operated on, and officially we can call him the Iron Man. Just have to make that decision. And I think that is the right decision. Thank you, everyone, just hearing me out. But I want to go to the real important story of today, which has a bearing on the way we're going to invest the week forward. All right, so let me just set this up. And here we go. This is the big story of the day, and kind of help us to rethink what was the rationale behind this article. Here we go. Warren Buffett's first big semiconductor investment in his career is also a bet on Apple's future. So since Tuesday, nobody talked about Apple. Right? You think about it. Tuesday, we were trading on Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM. And then today, Saturday, this article popped up. It's really beautiful. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all across the media, just focusing on semiconductor chips, while everybody is just calling out that this is going to be the next big cycle. And today, they connect the dots with Apple's future. So I want to fresh, read this out together with all of us here and to rethink. Perhaps there's something else we need to think about just to connect the dots, right? So here we go. This is a 4.8 billion. So everyone counting differently, but we got the actual data is 4.8 billion. Berkshire Hathaway invested into Taiwan Semiconductor in the third quarter, becoming the biggest holder of the Taiwanese chip makers' American ADR, American Depository Receipts. Now, it's ADR because it's trading parallel to the stock trading in the Taiwan exchange, all right? So it's almost like you can't do arbitrage strategies or that. So for us playing the stock market, you want to get hold of a foreign stock trading in their domicile country, then that's how you take part in the American Depository Receipt ADR. The disclosure sparked a big rally in the stock as Buffett made Taiwan Berkshire's top 10 biggest holding at the end of September. So we always focus on the high conviction stock. This is the nature and the name of it. And straight away, got this big spike up. And from that point onwards, this price range sets the price floor. which is the support line. All right. So we've gone through that in our analysis when we traded it on Tuesday. Now we need to connect the dots because there are many other names that's being mentioned. They have clients like NVIDIA, Qualcomm. That means if you bet on TSM, you're also betting on the growth of their clients, right? If their clients do well, they order more chips from TSM, naturally stock price of TSM will go up. So it's not just a bet on TSM. It's a bet on the upstream and downstream customers like NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and also to be the exclusive chip supplier for Apple, by far the most valuable stock holding in Berkshire's portfolio. So there are three names right here: Apple, NVIDIA, Qualcomm. And TSM is the core supplier and linchpin of Apple's silicon chips. So this is getting a bit more technical, and this partnership is becoming more interwoven as Apple builds out its M2 chips, according to Dan Eves. By betting on Taiwan Semi, Buffett is essentially backing the Apple ecosystem and iPhone demand in coming years. So that, to this analyst's point of view, is a bet on Apple's future. The question goes this way: why don't you just buy the stock of Apple directly? Why go through one round tripping to buy into TSM just to support Apple? Hey, teacher, I cannot connect the dots, right? So I'm going to show you how we break this down just by looking at this table. This, you can also get it in our Spiking Wealth Management System software. And we don't just show this, we show percentage conviction, right? So our software is much more powerful than this. So number one, you have Apple. And number two, is a bet on energy stocks, because we always take Chevron and we combine it with Occidental below right here. And you take the numbers, 23.8, and you add up with 11.9. So let me just take my calculator out, 23.8 plus 11.9. That's 35.7. And if it's 35.7, it will naturally sit just below Apple as the number two stock conviction. That's energy for you, right? So let me retrace back. Pong, 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 pong. And so where exactly is TSM right now? Right here. So we go down the slider. We say anyone related to semiconductor or Taiwan or technology stack, we kind of move up and down, right? So this is banking sector, not related. This is like consumer discretionary, related, more like beverage. you eat, live, and sleep. So this is not related. Again, American Express in finance, Occidental and Chevron, we talk about it. Kraft again is related to food. Moody's is against finance. Activision, I call this insider trading. How the heck old man knows exactly when to invest into Activision, and the next thing, Microsoft acquired this company. Too coincidental already, but they never filed a charge of insider trading against it. I guess probably they are innocent unless proven guilty, all right? But this is, to me, too obvious already, all right? That's why I love about insider trading. Then you slide down here, then pong, a bet into semiconductor sector, all right? So we're looking at it with open eyes. Back to the question, why don't Warren Buffett invest in Apple directly and go through this round tripping? Maybe it's not the right language to use round tripping. Why go through this supply chain boo-boo just to invest into Taiwan Semiconductor? Because I think for Apple to grow, the entire ecosystem must grow. I say again, for Apple to grow, the entire ecosystem must grow. So this investment into Taiwan Semiconductor is an investment into the entire ecosystem of semiconductor chips. That in the future of the world that Warren Buffett believes in, it is a world run by electronics. It's a world run by artificial intelligence. It's a world where connectivity counts. We're going to have faster speed and you want it fast download, faster speed, faster access, faster, greater reach, boils down to semiconductor chips. It's just like you think about, Twitter under Elon Musk yesterday also published something really controversial. And this controversial article that he kind of he changed the Twitter policy. It's not an article, it's a Twitter policy he published. And one of my friend, who is a Twitter's data scientist, right? And this guy is really brilliant, all right? It kind of sad, if I go to my Twitter account and see something like this. We have quite a number of chats about, AI, and I was engaging my friend Daniel Tukelang. This guy is top-notch engineer, right? And he said this: I was quit when I come in here, Elon. I'm twice as quit now. All right. So he kind of put this out on LinkedIn, and I said, perhaps this is Elon's approach of filtering out loyalty, because I was connecting a different dot. Let me show you the dot I'm connecting. Here we go. Let me try to put this out here. Okay, it's called a freedom of speech. All right. I hope I got the right article, but there's so many things going on. I hope I got the right one. Here we go. All right, this is the one. Elon Musk will limit reach of hate tweets that won't win back brands yet. And look at this paragraph here. I want to make it really big, and everyone, we can look at it with open eyes. And here we go. New Twitter policy is freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. Wow, brilliant, man. In one line, the clarity of thought is just covered in one sentence. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach, right? Just like we give you the freedom to use a kitchen knife, but it does not mean you abuse this freedom and take the knife and stab into another person. Same concept, but it's just captured in a simple line: speech versus reach, and it's kind of a sound like, the sound alike. So negative tweets will be max deboosted and demonetized, so no ads or other revenue to Twitter. You won't find the tweet unless you specifically seek it out, which is no different from the rest of the internet. If you don't find it, it's buried. So many articles are archived on the internet, and this is brilliant. So why are we talking about this? Well, we are really stretching the dots already, all right? So we come back. Some of you already lost out. I can say, wow, this conversation getting very complicated. Number one is a bet on the entire ecosystem that you want faster, quicker reach. You want to have your speech heard to everybody else out there. So I take the Twitter policy that enacted by Elon Musk into the conversation here on semiconductor chips. When you think about speech versus reach, what do these two things have in common? You need a freaking powerful semiconductor chip to fulfill the vision of speech versus reach. That's what I'm trying to say here. I hope you got it, all right? Sometimes when I'm connecting the dots, it's like I got it in my mind, but how to say it out in a very clear, succinct manner is not easy. And so that's the reason why most people got into writing. They write it down. Now, I got too many things on my plate, and I don't write it down. I just allocate this time every night to do my explanation, hoping to impart my knowledge to you guys. So, one more time. And, that's the reason why sometimes my brain is working slow, because it's unscripted. Freedom of speech versus freedom of reach. Both of them requires very powerful semiconductor chips to drive it. This is the bet into not just Apple. And I will boldly declare that this is also a bet into Twitter, into all the great technology stocks, that all of us wanted to have our speech heard. All of us wanted to reach to many more people. And that's the reason why he is investing to Taiwan Semiconductor, not just on Apple alone. Point one. Point two, which again, the media didn't talk about it. He's investing to Taiwan Semiconductor because this company has the word Taiwan in it. That's it, period, simple. He believes that there'll be peaceful resolution to Taiwan's relationship with China. He doesn't expect a war to break out. That is his thesis. If you think there's a war going to break out between China and Taiwan, you wouldn't invest in it. You extract all your investments, pull out. He's doing the opposite. That signals to us, he believes that, hey, China and Taiwan will not break out in a war, but they'll happily coexist with each other. That is a big bet on Taiwan itself. Okay? Number three, is there a third reason why Warren Buffett sparked the whole conversation and fire into semiconductor? And before we arrive at the third reason, the analysts continue the argument. All right, Taiwan is the heart and lungs of Apple ecosystem. They build chips, the silicon that are key in iPhones, the Macs, and really the future of Apple. It's about 25% of the revenue. When you're betting on TS, you're really betting on Apple. And he has increased his Apple stake to more than 120 billion over the years, taking up more than 40% of his portfolio. And you know, this is to all the ignorant people always thinking about portfolio diversification. No. Warren Buffett is a great example. You believe in this stock, ram it up to 40%. All right? And Buffett has called Apple's Berkshire second most important business after his cluster of insurance companies. So first he go after, now insurance portfolio, his insurance portfolio holdings was built up over 50 years span of investing. And that's the topic about, you know, my role as a hedge fund manager. As you enlarge and release your time over 1 decade, 2 decades, all the way to 5 decades, you will get it right. But your first year is the toughest. Your second year is the toughest. Your first 5 years is the toughest. Until you hit that tipping point, and boom, from that point onwards, everybody know that, you know, you're the legendary investor. So I'm taking my first mini steps into this world. And I hope to get all of you to support me in this journey. Not easy when you start off as a hedge fund manager and welcome 2022. Well, not easy at all, right? But I keep encouraging myself, nope, you're not in this for 1 year, you're in this for 50 years. And I believe I can live that long with God's blessing. And over 50 years, you will clock up your ranking into the Hall of Fame of what we call legendary Wall Street investors. So let's work towards that together. I'm more than happy to go through this journey with you. And let's come back. All right. So he started off his investment foray capturing all the great insurance companies. Like insurance is like calculating death, calculating acts of God. Whether there'll be a hurricane, tornado, there'll be accidents, right? It's calculating mortality. Just like many of you out there who are selling insurance to your loved ones, to your friends, to your colleagues, that I believe in the product called insurance. So much so that I got 3 boys, the moment they are born, you know, usually the first week, you know, your wife or my wife is in the hospital nursing her health back, and then the nurses take care of the baby, right? And the first week of each of my son's birth, I got my banker to report to me in the hospital. Bring all your documents. I want to sign off this insurance product the day that they are born. That is the cheapest rate that you can get into your child's insurance policy that will set the stage for him to leapfrog against his peers in the future. What do I mean by leapfrog? I bought the policy whereby it covers all about the standard insurance, but more importantly, at the age when they are ready to go to university, they can select any universities that they want to go to in any country of the world, whether it's the top US Ivy League University or Oxford, Cambridge in United Kingdom or in Australia or some other countries. The insurance I bought for them will more than cover their entire university fees and lodging, and plus a lot of spare cash for them to launch their startup. That's what I bought for them. And it paid off already. Can you see? With the blink of an eye, I paid off the insurance policy for my 3 sons. That will set them right at the start of the race when they go into university. So I want to encourage those of you who are doing planning. You always buy first week of birth. That's the tip. So he went in to buy into insurance stocks and build a formidable portfolio. Then and only then, once he built up his base of all the greatest insurance companies in the world in his portfolio, then he went into Apple's business of consumers. I think about Apple, I think about consumers. Because you go to any meeting, somebody is carrying an iPhone. Which other product do you have that does that? Right? Freaking out, everybody carrying iPhone around you, right? You can't say that for cars. You drive a car on the street, I mean, like at least 10, 20 different brands, right? Today I drove past a Rolls Royce, a Maserati, a Porsche, a Lamborghini. I drove past many, many different interesting cars. But in a phone, it's either Apple or non-Apple, period. Right? But I don't care whether you're Samsung or whatever phone out there, but it's either Apple or non-Apple phones, right? So this is number 2. And I'm still flowing with the analysts. And that's the reason why, as semiconductor slowdown and political tension in South China Sea mounted, the US seeking to reduce reliance on Taiwan for chip supplies and cut off China from American-made chips. So read this paragraph again. Most people will have chicken out of TSM, but not Warren Buffett. What did he see in TSM when Joe Biden's agenda is really to cut off China from American-made chips, right? Maybe he also read into the midterm election outcome. He kind of expected that Nancy Pelosi will be kicked out forever. I really like that. That lady is on the dark side, man. So she's no longer Speaker of the House because the House belongs to the GOP, Grand Old Party Republicans right now. Only the Democrats control the Senate, which is 100 seats. House is about 435 seats. Right now controlled by Republicans. And you go through this whole argument and Joe Biden is not going to have an easy time to pass through his political agenda, all right, for the next 2 years. He has to fight like hell right now. And then I want to finish this off. I think Buffett betting on Taiwan Semi is really his view, and it's our view that, at least for now, the bug is worse than the bite. Or don't know what is this. Okay, so this is about, I talk about his bet into Taiwan itself that China will not attack Taiwan, all right? I'm still trying to push it through to the point number 3, which I think we are coming very near to it right now, the concept of a moat. What is a moat is what we call a competitive edge. And one of the few companies that produces semiconductors essential to advanced technology, including AI and electric cars. So we know that Warren Buffett has forayed into EVs by betting into BYD instead of Tesla. Now, that's the strange part. I would have thought that he would invest into Tesla. Maybe the conditions are not right yet, and which is one of my thinking that, don't discount the fact that one day Warren Buffett may invest into Tesla. All right, I think he's looking for some kind of calm, some kind of stability, some kind of succession within Tesla before he make his big bet into Tesla. Why would you not invest in the leader of the pack? I wouldn't understand, right? Now, Warren Buffett has invested into General Motors, but not Tesla. I think he's waiting for the right time, waiting for the price to depreciate to a level that he's comfortable with, waiting for the leadership of Elon Musk to settle down, then he will move in big. So I don't discount that. That is in my thinking, in my calculation. And that's the reason why, even though Tesla price is going through a pretty valley of the shadow of death, not death yet, right? But right now it's kind of shaky because of his time involvement at Twitter, and Wall Street didn't like that, send the stock price down. But those things will settle very fast, all right? But I'm more interested in predicting when I can trade alongside Warren Buffett into Tesla. And I remembered, when the first time he bought into Apple, I bought into Apple as well. But I didn't hold that long like him. I was trading Apple, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, right? So let's make a deal together. In the next time that Warren Buffett invests into Tesla, we're going to keep averaging up like him. All hands in, all right? So let's wait for that moment. I think it's really fascinating. So let's continue the moat argument. Wow, today is pretty long video. How long is it? Coming to 1 hour, man. How are you guys holding up? So third point is the moat. The long-term and outsized return. And so finally, talk about balance sheet and all that. All right. So I want to connect the three dots. Number one is a bet on the entire ecosystem. Speech versus reach is driven by powerful semiconductor chips. And you bet on the leader of the pack, that's Taiwan Semi. Number two, he's really betting into Taiwan, that there's peace across the straits, that China will not launch a war so soon, but given enough time, Taiwan will be part of the greatest moat on earth, connecting the dots for all electric vehicles to iPhones and all that. And really, number three, the way I thought about it is he saw a big gap in the marketplace. What is this big gap? The pace of innovation can only be spearheaded if everybody from upstream, downstream is kind of driven by powerful semiconductor chips. And that guy filling the gap is none other than TSM. All right? So that kind of bring to a closure on my thinking on semiconductor chips. And I'm glad we did it for 1 week, like non-stop, right? Non-stop, really, from Tuesday until today, Saturday. And I think today we can put a closure to that. You guys know how to position your portfolio surrounding it. I want to thank you for joining me here tonight, and I hope to continue this again tomorrow. Please make sure you tune in on time and share our videos with all your friends and all your colleagues. And, I have an upcoming class coming up, and you can go and visit at the YouTube description, spiking.com/wisdom. All right, join me in the upcoming class. We're going to dive deep on how to stand on the shoulders of giants. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. May God bless you. Goodbye, everybody.